You're listening to the Franchise Freedom Podcast with Giuseppe Grammatico.
Welcome to the Franchise Freedom Podcast. I'm your host, Giuseppe Grammatico, your franchise guide, the show where we help corporate executives experience time and financial freedom via franchising. And a very exciting show for you today. Last month, we were at our national conference, our semi-annual national conference, and I put together kind of my top three takeaways from that conference from meeting with over 300 franchise veterans, founders, and experts. It was great. You know, we got to speak with other fellow consultants, founders of some of these franchise businesses, experts in the fields, and I said, how do I kind of summarize this top three takeaways? And I intentionally wanted to wait about a month or so since the conference because I also had multiple follow-ups with a lot of founders and fellow colleagues of mine to really kind of review the meetings and takeaways and things to kind of to share, you know, with everyone listening today. So we'll dive right in. So again, great conference. We got, it was about 3 or 4 days that we were able to sit down, meet, and discuss what's going on. And one topic that was very common was all about the kind of the right time to invest in a franchise business. And, you know, the right time is now. You know, people have been concerned about what's going on in the economy, interest rates, potential recession. And we've experienced this via investing in the stock market. You know, things are cyclical, right? Things are, you have good years, you have down years, but really, you know, what's the right time to invest in the stock market? And it is now. It's to consistently invest in the market, not to market time, as that's extremely difficult to do. And over time, things will smooth out. And I feel the same as an investor in my prior career with business ownership. And it seemed to be a very common theme in that if your why is strong enough to start a business, the timing is now, and you'll figure things out. There may be pivots in there. There may be certain industries to go after, you know, different ways of going about the business. But the longer we put things aside, you know, the longer we'll just kind of just say, yeah, one of these days, and then a decade later, and we still haven't invested in that business. Economies like this, you know, this is really the time where a lot of opportunity starts to come up. Interest rates are a little bit higher, but we've seen great deals or just heard feedback from people, great deals on real estate and things like that. So timing, it's very hard to time the stock market, very hard to time what the economy will do. But if you are really, you know, certain in your why and what you want to accomplish from this, the timing is now. Again, interest rates are higher, and that loan, hopefully you get to pay back sooner than later. So it will cost you more, but what's the cost of not doing anything and just kind of being stuck at your job that you may not like, and those days are going to be extremely long. So that was one area that we discussed. Another area is companies have really, and I've talked about this on previous takeaways. So consistency sometimes is or in many cases, a good thing, right? Companies are reinvesting in their businesses, and the best way and best approach, talking to directly with the founders, was just getting feedback from their franchisees. Are you happy? Are you growing? What do you need from us? What can help? And we've seen a lot of companies truly reinvest with in-house call centers to take the lead flow from the in-house marketing. So marketing is bringing in leads, and they get funneled and transferred over to a call center where they're able to pick up the phones and in some cases schedule, in other cases upsell, give information, take payment. It's going to vary depending on the brand and the call center, but companies are reinvesting back into their businesses. We've seen multiple businesses also take advantage of the industry they're in. So we've had businesses add additional service lines directly into their business. We've had one franchise in particular add mosquito spraying as just an added revenue stream for the franchisee, where the franchisee would go to some additional training and pick up some additional equipment. But looking at ways so that the franchise owner can expand via their current territory and are given, various or additional ways to expand and grow their business. And then with marketing, really stepping up the game with marketing, how they approach, with those in-house marketing companies, and working with franchisees, putting together plans so that the franchisee maybe is going door to door while the online marketing is being handled for them. We've had AI-based CRM systems, ChatGPT. That was a conversation that came up a few times. But just with AI, how do we take advantage of AI in our CRM to make sure we're standing always in front of our customers, but also prospects, people that eventually will become customers. So a lot of time has been reinvested there, and a lot of great feedback going back with the founders and the franchisor, going back to their franchisees to see exactly what is needed and ways to improve. And, finally, it's the idea of taking control. A franchise is a business, and really this business is a way to truly take control, of just everything financial. We talked about in the previous episode, financial and time freedom. There's a lot of layoffs going on. Google has been laying off, Amazon, a lot of these tech companies have been laying off. So how do you truly take control? You can't control the job, right? You could be laid off at any point in time. Maybe you're given a severance, maybe you're not. So I talked about with a few of the founders about creating a safety net, a backup in the event of another layoff. And that could simply be looking at a business that is more semi-absentee is one of the models. And we'll talk about this on a future podcast, but the different types of ownership. There are semi-absentee models where you're putting in that, half the amount of hours while keeping your day job. And there's also semi-passive and investor models where the franchisor runs the day-to-day. So it's a little bit less of a time investment. So these are ways of creating a safety net. We have backups and there's unemployment, but over and beyond what you can do. Some people may just love their jobs, but they can't control what that future looks like, or may not be able to avoid a future layoff. So I'm talking from experience, worked for 3 of the largest companies prior to getting into franchising, and all went through mergers and there were layoffs involved. So I could definitely talk at length about that, but taking control, creating the safety net, that way you can just transition right into that business. Maybe that you were running part-time. Maybe that's great. Maybe that's all that's needed. It's been ramped up. You've been running it 2 years. In some cases, you may want to go full-time to that business. So just to summarize the top 3 takeaways from the semi-annual national conference has been the timing is now, as far as the right timing to get into a business. Companies are reinvesting back into their franchisees and marketing and revenue streams, taking advantage of the latest technology and AI. And lastly, taking control, building that safety net. So in the event of a layoff, you have that backup plan. You have something that you can easily transition into, and it's yours. And you can control that. You can grow it as quickly as you'd like. You may just want to leave it as a smaller local business. Completely up to you. No right or wrongs. But anyway, if I would love to hear your comments, or if you have any questions, or if you just like to dive a little bit deeper in any of these 3 areas, send me a message. I check all social messages on YouTube. Love to hear from you. Send me an email. Go right to the website, ggthefranchiseguide.com. And always like to read your comments. Sometimes I'll get questions, which will be a subject matter for a future show. So looking forward to it. Take care and talk soon. All right, bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in. Whenever you're ready, here are 3 ways Giuseppe can help. 1. If you've ever considered owning a business of any kind, you owe it to yourself to get a copy of Giuseppe's book, Franchise Freedom. Download your free copy at ggthefranchiseguide.com/book. 2. Want to understand how successful executives make the transition from corporate to owning their own franchise? Join Giuseppe's next online presentation, Franchise Freedom: how to escape the corporate world and have financial and time freedom by owning a franchise by going to ggthefranchiseguide.com/video. 3. Want to work with Giuseppe one-on-one to identify the right franchise opportunity for you, to navigate the process, and get plugged into experienced franchising advisors? Send him an email to gg@ggthefranchiseguide.com with one-on-one in the subject, and he'll send you all the details.